So I was in my honors European history class when I heard my high school PA system say, "Luis Ortiz, please report to the principal's office." I started walking to the principal's office and I thought, oh no, did something happen to my grandmother in Puerto Rico? But as I got closer to the principal's office and saw my father in there, he didn't look sad, he looked pissed. We got into the car, driving home, and I didn't dare say a thing when my father was angry. See, one time when I bleached my hair blonde, he took all of the electronic things in my room and hid them in the basement until I dyed it back brown. So I didn't want to say anything. We got to my house and went up to my bedroom, and he stands close to my bed, and he points onto something under my bed, and he says, "What's that?" So he was pointing at a little metal box. It was my secret safe box. It's where I kept my own personal things like ticket stubs to a Smashing Pumpkins concert and newspaper clippings of Michael J. Fox, who I thought was so cute. And I also kept pot. So he says to me, "When your mother gets here, you're gonna be in serious trouble." Now, it's just pot, but in my Puerto Rican household, it may have well been a gun or heroin or gay porn. It was a travesty. So I had to think really quickly. Well, but I really have to go back to school. You see, I'm an honor roll student, and there's an honor roll meeting that I need to go to. And so he turns to me and says, "I'll give you 5 minutes." He leaves the room, and then I had to think quickly. Because how could I stay in this house? My parents would never see me the same way. I mean, they would think I'm a drug addict. Or maybe I am a drug addict. Or maybe I'm gonna become a drug addict. But I knew that I needed to do something. So I grabbed my book bag, grabbed some clean underwear and socks and a book, and went downstairs as my father took me to school. After he dropped me off and I saw his car leave the high school premises, I dashed to the nearest payphone and I called the operator. And I asked, "How do you leave Maryland?" And the operator gave me very specific instructions. So I hopped onto a ride-on bus and went to a bank. And I took out all of my money, about $600, put it all over my body, then took another bus to Shady Grove and went through Shady Grove to Silver Spring. And at Silver Spring, I went to a Greyhound bus station. And I went to the ticket lady and I said, "I would like a one-way ticket to Savannah, Georgia." The lady says, "Okay, young man, and what is your name?" "My name is Ethan Barreau." Now, my name is not Ethan Barreau. It's one of my many names that I have in my toolkit of fake identities. And it just so happened to work. So I take Ethan Barreau's bus ticket, and I get on the bus on my way to Savannah, Georgia. At this point, you might be thinking, why am I going to Savannah, Georgia, of all places? Well, a couple of years back, in middle school agriculture class, there was this guy, and he was kind of a bad boy. He smoked cigarettes by the tennis courts and came from a broken family, and he huffed rubber cement and lawnmower gasoline. And I just thought he was hot. And he said, "One of these days, I'm gonna get in trouble. And when I do, we should run away together to Savannah, Georgia." And I said, "Yes." And we had a grand plan. We would befriend some college students and crash on their couch, and then we would get jobs, and then we would make enough money to change our social security numbers, and then we would be free. So as I make my way to Savannah, Georgia, and get off the bus to enact this grand plan, I see a Burger King, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna go to Burger King one last time. And Burger King is a place that my parents used to take my sister and I on a regular basis. And I would always get the breaded chicken sandwich, the long sourdough bread with the wilted lettuce and the mayonnaise. And I really wanted one of those one last time. So I sit down eating my sandwich, and all of a sudden a man approaches me. And he has these beautiful blue eyes and this buzz cut and this broad shoulders. He was a man to me. But he was 19 years old. And he says, "Hey, I noticed you on the bus. What brings you to Savannah, Georgia?" And I say, well, you know, my father, he's like a very successful businessman. And so sometimes I come down here and then we drive back up to Maryland together. It's like a father-son bonding road trip. And he's like, okay. So he tells me his name is Russell and he's from West Virginia. And I immediately know that he is there to help me. We end up talking for a while. We end up going out for ice cream and go to a museum. And he says, Ethan, why did you leave home for real? And little by little, I started opening up to him, and I told him that, you know, this travesty happened in my family, and I could never return. But we eventually went back to the bus station where he was gonna head back to the Army barracks. And he turns to me and he says, Ethan, you have a very important decision to make. He points to a homeless man at the bus station, and he says, you can either stay here in the mean streets of Savannah and become like this man who's not really free, or you can go back and you can finish high school, finish college, and enact your dreams. And he said, don't go back for your friends. Fuck them. And don't go back for your family either. Fuck them too. Go back to finish those things that you want to finish so that you can be free. So Russell left and we exchanged information, and eventually I decided to call my parents. And when my mother picked up the phone, I can tell that she had not slept for 36 hours or more. And she asked, where are you? And I said, I'm in Savannah. And she said, just come back. So I came back, and I didn't get in trouble. My parents didn't really believe that Russell was a real person. They thought he was an angel. And little by little, over time, our relationship did improve. Well, one thing that running away did with our relationship is that it drew a line in the sand. Don't fuck with me, or I will leave. Thank you. Thank you.